We're reducing the amount of ultimate charge preserved by a significant amount in order to see if the increased cost of switching meaningfully impacts player behavior while retaining the benefits this mechanic provides. This is so fucking dumb, bro. This is so fucking dumb. And what really now pisses me off, is now this is unethical. This is now, we're at the point of gaslighting and misleading. And I don't think we should let them slide without calling this out. When they launched Overwatch 2, and they said we're gonna put heroes behind a paywall, their number one justification was that players don't switch. They only play a couple heroes, and therefore, it's okay for us to put heroes on a paywall because people will just get the heroes they want to get. Now that we've gone long enough and everyone's forgotten about that, everyone's accepted the heroes behind a paywall, they're now saying swapping heroes is a fundamental part of Overwatch that we're trying to force. We're trying to make it a thing. It was you said that it wasn't a thing, right? Their own words, when they launched Overwatch 2, said that the statistics say it isn't a thing. And then they added this system, and now they're like, it's core to Overwatch. Everyone does it all the time. Who fucking made the thing then? Who fucking made the thing? Who made it a thing? Who made it this, like, decreasing the friction that there wasn't there? Nobody had a problem with it. Because the majority of people were happy playing the hero they wanted to play. You said these words. And now you're like, we decreased the friction, and we created a system that created a problem that wasn't there. And the cynical interpretation is that they're doing it so that you have to buy all the heroes. That's the cynical interpretation. They want to make you swap all the heroes so that eventually you get to the point where you don't have all the heroes that you need and you have to go and buy one. This is why I'm like so annoyed about this thing, because they're either don't know their own game or they're manipulating and lying. They're either gaslighting or they're idiots. Choose one, right? Either they are trying to make you forget about what they said when the game launched, or they're so dumb that they don't even realize what they've done. Choose your poison. Alright. On to the actual patch notes. Tank, Doomfist, Meteor Strike. Now regenerates 75 health per second while in the air. Ultimate cost increased by 16%. One of the most effective uses for an ability like Meteor Strike is to save it as an escape in order to grab a health pack instead of using it against his foes. Doomfist will now recover health during the targeting phase so it can be used more offensively. I mean, it's a nice buff. 16% is a significant chunk more to cost. My preferred buff for Meteor Strike anyways would have been to leave a lingering effect when you Meteor Strike up in the air so you can still contest the objective. So many times when you get to overtime situations, the biggest problem with Doomfist, as someone who's played a lot of Doomfist now, is that you cannot use your ultimate because it's a throw. You're gonna lose the point. So, Junk Queen, Scattergun. Spread reduced. Tightening the spread on Junk Queen Scattergun will make it more effective at range against small targets and give her slightly more team fight presence before fully committing in to getting close to the enemy team. We'll have to see what that feels like. I mean, I'm personally fine with Junk Queen. This feels like a power creep kind of buff. This feels like you won't really notice this. It won't make you go out and play Junker Queen. At some point, you'll play Junker Queen and you'll be like, oh wow, she just shreds everyone. What's going on? We won't actively remember that her spread got reduced by 8%, but that will have been part of the contribution. Maoga. Base health reduced from 500 to 350. Base armor increased to 150. So they gave him armor instead of just health, and they reduced his head hitbox. Incendiary and volatile chain guns. Spread for firing both guns reduced. Fire rate multiplier for firing both guns reduced. Wait, multiplier? Does that mean that you were slowed? I don't remember enough about Ramatra. Does that mean that? Because I think you were slowed when you were firing both, right? So now you're not. You can just fire both. Damage per shot increased. Damage fall off range increased. Max ammo size increased. Movement penalty reduced from 20% to 15% per gun. So they're just like buffing this guy to the hills. They're just like absolutely ramp this guy up. Can no longer be interrupted by hack. His overrun damage reduction increased from 50 to 50%. Lifesteal increased. Berserker passive overhealth conversion rate increased. We got a lot of constructive feedback from players on Margot's ability to try. So we adjusted his kit for his official launch to give him the ability to last longer in a fight. It's the rate of fire. They fire 25% faster when both shot together. Okay, so now you can just shoot them at the same time for whatever. Yeah, I mean, at least it is probably better. Again, it's, they say safe side is strong. It's probably better for him to be on the OP side of things rather than weak and lame and nobody wants to play him. But this only adds to my criticism of the paywall mechanic that they are now trying to force you to own all the heroes. Ramatra base health reduced. Armor, so yeah, they gave Ramatra armor. The projectile size increased from 0.075 to 0.01. So it's like not 25%, but more than 25% increase in the size of his projectile, which is pretty sizable. It's like Ashe or Iliari. Okay, I see. Which is fairly sizable. And damage increase from 4 to 5. Ramatra is quite powerful during his Nemesis form, but his Twink form is too easy to ignore. Riding some power. Alright. With the Omnic form having even better range damage, while Nemesis form Pummel can pierce enemies. Sigma, Experimental Barrier. Regeneration rate reduced from 100 to 85 health per second. Sigma has very effective defensive options between his Experimental Barrier and Kinetic Grasp. The barrier regeneration rate is being reduced in order to create more opportunity to attack Sigma directly. If you want to stop Sigma being played a lot, you just change other things and no one will play Sigma as much. I know the reason I pick Sigma is like, oh shit, we got a Mercy Moira. I guess the only tank I can really pick is Sigma because I'm not gonna survive as any other tank. Winston, Tesla Cannon now ignores armor damage reduction, which they already announced beforehand. This is a special property for the Tesla Cannon intended to increase Winston's effectiveness against other tanks with large armor health pools. He still won't specialize in dealing with tanks since the single damage output is low, but it'll be less of an extreme disadvantage. Again, I think while the Diva matchup will feel better, the real places I think this will feel better are the Briggs and the Bastions. Those are the places where it will really feel better. I don't see him spending much more time fighting a Reinhardt still, you know, like that's not what you're gonna do. If you're doing that, why are you playing Winston anyways, right? Mei. Maximum ammo reduced. We're reducing the maximum ammo to limit how long Mei is able to continuously slow an enemy target now that primary fire deals more damage. Well, I'm always here for Mei nerfs, but this again just feels like you're still going to be annoyed at the Mei. The Mei is going to be annoyed. I don't know. Just stop the slow being as obnoxious as it is, guys. How about that? Here we go. The most significant patch note there is ever been. From 15 to 18... Soldier self-sustainability is potent and makes him difficult to deal with while it's in an area. Rather than reduce his raw healing, we're increasing the amount of time between consecutive uses to open up longer periods of vulnerability. I remember they used Windows opportunity in the developer blog, which just makes me laugh so hard, bro. It really feels, when you read the patch notes, you really understand that they don't actually balance via intuitive play decisions. Like they don't play and they're like, I think if Soldier was more like this, it would be better. You can quite clearly see when they just look at a stat of something and they're like, how can we change this particular thing that we want to change? It's like a very much like a out of touch corporate approach to balancing. Like it's like the way that like or corporation would be like, our employees are unhappy, what can we do? Should we make meaningful changes to the workers' conditions? No. Maybe we give them pizza. Okay, that'll do. Ability lockout duration increased from 1.5 to 3 for Sombra's EMP. Damage reduced from 30% to 25%. Didn't they say they were going to increase the ult charge? No? Divine 1.5 second lockout didn't feel impactful enough for an ultimate ability, but generally EMP is more interesting and effective when it's focused on the disabling aspect rather than the damage. You change this! Bro, I swear to God, the experience of Overwatch 2 will just be going back to things that were in Overwatch 1. I swear to God, dude. I swear to God. They changed this for the opposite reason that they're now changing it back. When they changed it, they were like, yeah, it fucking sucks to get locked out of your abilities. Let's change it to damage so that Sombra can be more of an assassin. And now they're like, yeah, now the damage thing is shit. I think it's better off as a thing that locks you out of your abilities. Make your mind up, guys. Make your mind up. What is it? Which one is it? Torbjorn Overload. Overhealth increase from 75 to 100. Why? The health decrease on Overload severely impacted Torbjorn's overall effectiveness, so we're reverting the change. Bro, why are you trying to make Torbjorn a thing, dude? Why are you trying to make Torbjorn a thing? It was miserable when everyone was playing Torb. It was shit. Just having a turret auto-fire you and having to duel a turret before you can actually play the game. I suppose what they will say is, we want to buff Torb because dive is strong. More heroes that just absorb a bunch of damage and do free shit is just annoying. Tracer Pulse Pulse's damage increased. This is definitely going to be a interesting one. Again, while I don't disagree with the idea that Tracer should be a strong hero in the game if you're good, and while a lot of stuff shits on her, like just insta-kills her, that stuff will still insta-kill her. But now she kills stuff also. Support, Baptiste, Biotic Launcher, Primary Fire Ammo reduced. Which again, this will just bring down his overall damage numbers. It may not bring down the lethality of a BAP at any given moment when you're dueling him, but it will definitely tell in fights. Like having 9 less ammo, which is like a lot, that's 3 more bursts, right? So that's 3 less shots you have in a way to try and duel someone and kill someone. So you will definitely feel it, but you also may not feel it. Like you may not notice because the BAP will still Shrek you. Brig whip shot damage reduced. Back we go. Brigitte ended up being the best performing support hero in the game by a fair margin. Gee guys, I wonder why. They keep making their own problems. This is literally like, what they just keep doing is they keep lighting a bunch of fires around the forest. And then they'll be like, gee guys, it seems like the forest is burning. We're gonna add more fire extinguishers into the game. And it's like, you added the fire in the first place. You are the ones who buffed her to the fucking hilt. Kiriko healing a Fuda. Projectile speed increased. So that's the healing is now faster, which is fair. Protection Suzu. Invulnerability duration reduced from 0.85 to 0.65. Healing explosion increased. Reducing the Protection Suzu invulnerability time will further help it feel less frustrating to play against, but still enable it to have big playmaking moments, although with a stricter timing requirement. To counterbalance that power loss, we're making Kiriko's healing more reliable. Again, the Blizzard classic of we nerfed a hero, but we're gonna buff him in a different way. Why can't we just nerf the fucking hero? I don't understand. Why must we give a compensatory... 80 healing is a lot. 80 healing is like an Ana nade, basically, right? It's basically an Ana nade, especially considering that they're invulnerable too, so... It's like you're not taking damage for that time as well. It'll also make Kiriko harder to duel. Forget about her, her Suzuing other people. But if you think about it now, you're dueling a Kiriko. You get her down, and let's say she's down to like 50 HP. Well, previously she goes up to 90. Now she goes up to 130. That's a lot. That's a lot of HP to have to like burn down again. And you know the Kirikos be dueling you, right? You know they be all up in the backline, or when you try to get up in their backline. So they're not really thinking this part through, I don't think. Yeah, I think Kiriko players will be very happy with this. I don't know if they intend this to be a nerf or a buff, or if they're just trying to adjust the power. But to me, this feels like a buff to DPS Kiriko's more than it feels like an attempt to make her heal more. Valkyrie. Activating Valkyrie no longer disconnects Kadusha staff. Alright, that's a dub. That's a dub. Mercy players have been asking for this for a long time. I've been seeing this asked for since Overwatch 1. So that's a dub that they finally made the staff not disconnect. They finally got it. All the skins, but finally they got this. In what way do you think the change will impact the overall game in a match? Far too many variables for me to answer that question, unfortunately, Sekota. There's lots of nuances to a lot of things being changed. Like Doom is stronger, Junk Queen's stronger, Mauga is going to be very easy to play, I think. Ramatra is stronger, Sigma's weaker, Winston's a lot stronger. Or a lot stronger against the things that he suffers against. Most of the DPS changes aren't particularly impactful. The Tracer one is potentially. So the Tracer one is potentially impactful. The support changes, I think, mostly are just a Kiriko buff. I don't think... The Brig one is impactful in the sense that it makes her less scary to Tracer, which again is a buff to Tracer. The BAP one I don't think is going to be like impactful in the meta sense. Like, if he's not going to get played, it's not because of his ammo, it's going to be because of the other shifts around. So, we'll see. Sombra change is massive for Masters Plus. You're far overestimating the coordination of players in Master and even GM if you think that any of them are like, yes, she's EMPing, let's do something about it. But again, it really remains to be seen. It's really hard to say what can or can't work without... I've played 2 games of Mauga. So I can't say if like... So I don't have the testing of like, oh, when I run Mauga, they just run this and it's over. Or actually, we can run Mauga with this and it'll farm.